What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Unhinged Live. As usual, I'm your host, Patrick Hennessy, joined today for the Yankees postgame by the man. Today, he is WWWWW. Walk-off Alonso. How we doing today, Jalen?
Oh, sorry, Pat. What's up there? I was just doing a little sweeping,
No, yeah, the usual. Yeah. So, moving on. Chat, I guarantee that was not planned. Before we get into anything from today's game, let's take attendance/roll call. You guys know the deal. Shout out to, we got Damian, Leanna, Daniel, Alfonso, Austin Lugo. We got Matt. Who else? We got Smooth J, Ed King, KG Baseball, Lori. Shout out to Lori. We got who else? We got Jack. We got Diego, Matthew, Chibuzi, Jesse Dominguez. Sorry if I missed anybody. Hope everyone enjoyed today's game. Quite the odd game. Chapman with his first blown save, a lot of stuff went down, but I say rather than starting things off with the box score, we kind of go over the scoring from today's game. I think that makes the most sense. So bottom of the first, bro, Gleyber Torres, just the definition of clutch so far this season. 2-run single. Jalen, I've talked about this like very, very often lately, but in a big situation, there's no one I want up more than Gleyber Torres right now.
Yeah, he's proven to kind of be the clutchest guy on the Yankees. I know we talk a lot about DJ and how over his tenure as a Yankee, he's been the go-to guy for big situations. But Gleyber just kind of has that, I know a lot of people talk about, there's no clutch gene. I think there is.
No, he has it.
And he absolutely has it. He's come through in so many big spots since the beginning of his career. And with him not only being clutch this season again, he's also just scorching hot since he came back from the COVID IO. And I think maybe a couple guys just needed that little 5 to 7 days off, because not only is Gleyber hot, but Clint had a 3-hit game tonight. I know we're going to get to him, but I could see some guys maybe just needing that week off to clear their head. And it wasn't like Gleyber was really scuffling before he went on the COVID IO, but I think now he's simplified his approach. He watched a lot of film. He looked at his swing. And it just gave him time to reevaluate. He's not trying to be a home run hitter anymore. They don't have him in the 4 spot. I think that 5 spot is perfect for him. And so I just really like his approach right now. He gets down 2 strikes and he's not looking to still swing like it's 3-0 or 3-1. He's shortening up and he's just poking balls to the outfield. That's all we need him to do.
Yep. But shout out to Alex with the $2 dono. Appreciate you, Alex. Round of applause to that. He says, I kind of predicted Tyone's 5-inning shutout. Bro, shout out to you, Alex. I'm going to call him Alex Stradamus.
Wow.
There you go. Just saying. Wait, but okay, I've been saying that a lot, Pat Stradamus, I'm Nostradamus. But wasn't Nostradamus famous for predicting things that didn't come true?
I thought it was for predicting things that did come true.
That's what I thought, but bro, I saw someone comment oh, Nostradamus was never true. So I don't know. I'm still gonna call myself Pat Stradamus. I don't know. But the scoring was pretty light until the bottom of the 5th when Gio grounded into a double play. and a DJ LeMahieu run scored. But then top of the 6th comes around, Jameson Taillon comes out of the ball game, and what do you know? Jose Abreu cranks a 2-run home run off of Wandy Peralta. Mike Tauchman wouldn't have given up that home run. That's all I'm going to say. But bottom of the 6th, the Yankees get a run back with Brett Gardner's what should have been a double play, but run scored off of that. Top of the 7th comes around, Yasmani Grandal with a solo shot. To be honest with you, I think Clint could have caught that ball if the fan didn't get in the way. It was close. Like, I'm not 100% sure he would have caught it, but it's possible he would have.
Even if he wasn't going to catch the ball, I think in your home stadium, you should never have to deal with like battling a fan for a ball. So I understood Clint's frustration there, just because you want at least a chance, and especially in your home stadium. So I don't understand why fans continue to do this in their home stadium. We saw it earlier in the year with Aaron Judge down the right field line, and like the guy tried to rip the ball out of the glove. I don't know, like if you sit in the first row, especially in the outfield, you should be prepared to take the ball out of an opposing player's glove if they're over the fence, obviously, because you don't want to get obstruction, but you should never interfere with your own team, potentially not only saving an out, but saving a run. Like,
yeah, for sure.
It's so frustrating. But I mean, I think
stupid.
Clint has a chance to make the play. I think Aaron Judge absolutely makes that play. And I wonder if they back off maybe if Aaron Judge is out there.
Maybe. I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and see for next time, right? But top of the 9th, Andrew freaking Vaughn cranks an opposite field shot off of Aroldis Chapman. That ties the game. Chapman's first blown save of the year. It was bound to come eventually. I hate people that are kind of saying, oh, Chapman's run is over. Like, no. Chapman's like still going to be as dominant as ever. But then bottom of the 9th, the Yankees don't have to deal with that extra inning garbage. Aaron Judge with his first walk off at bat. It was a walk. I'll still take it. Still counts as the same. But overall, the bottom line here, the Yankees swept the White Sox. That's the key. They're now, 2-6 in games where they could go for a sweep. So I think the Yankees made their point like very clear this series that they are now the team to beat by far in the American League.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I think the fact that the Yankees are not even in like at full strength right now. I know obviously the White Sox have had their injuries, but this is their team this year. Like Eloy Jimenez might come back like in September. I don't know if he's like been officially declared out for the season. Luis Robert, the same thing. Like he's going to come back at the tail end of the year, but this is the White Sox team for the most part. So I don't necessarily think it equates to the same thing that we're dealing with. But I think this really just goes to show you how dominant our starting pitching has been. Like,
no, I know it's ridiculous.
Our starting pitching hasn't allowed a run in 35 innings, and the guy that we were most worried about, obviously Taillon, with near a 6 ERA coming in, he turns around and gives a pretty solid start. I know he didn't give up any runs, but that's not really what I was looking at. I was looking at more how he commanded his fastball because that's been his best pitch all year, and then on top of that, using his secondary pitches, which he struggled with all year. And today it looked a lot better. And I know there was a couple pitches where guys just missed them on the White Sox, but that's what happens when you battle and you make good pitches. Sometimes you get lucky. And today he did get lucky a few times, but he did pitch a good game. I like the fact that Boone pulled him after 5, let him go out with with confidence and not give him the 6th inning and then he blows it. And then now a good start turned into a tie ball game and he's leaving on a bad note. And the bullpen rested, so I like that move.
It was strange, only because like I felt like Taillon pitched well today, but I don't think he was at his best, right? I mean, I feel like he got out of like a lot of tough situations. His final line for the day was 5 innings. Only gave up 2 hits, 2 walks, 4 Ks, but for some reason it felt like he pitched worse than that. I don't know if it's just because he's not like the smoothest guy on the mound. I don't know. Like it just doesn't feel like I'm too confident whenever he's out there. But maybe this could be a stepping stone moving forward, but my thing is, I feel like whenever Taillon has a decent start, we say that, right? We're always like, oh, like maybe this could be a stepping stone moving forward. And then his next start's on the road and he's an absolute like catastrophic guy out there. Yeah. So I don't know. But 2 guys, as far as the offense goes, that I want to discuss today. 1, well, actually, maybe 3. 3 guys. The third one's kind of a wild card. But 1, can we take a minute just to talk about Gleyber Torres? I know we talked about this before when we mentioned like the 2-run single that he got earlier on, But before we do talk about Gleyber Torres, shout out to Alex with another $2 dono. Appreciate you, Alex. You can't expect a guy to allow no runs over 162. That's true.
Yeah.
Bro, like anyone who's expecting Chapman to give up no runs and no blown saves the entire season, you're a bozo.
And when
You're
a guy
stupid.
throws, I mean, I can't even imagine how people even fathom hitting a Aroldis Chapman. Like his stuff is so gross. But like when a guy throws that hard, especially in Yankee Stadium, you're bound to just give up a guy who just squares one up and it goes out. So listen, I take Chapman as my closer 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah, easily. But listen, Gleyber Torres, we're talking about a guy who has been ridiculous since coming back from the COVID IL. I feel like even before that, he was still so clutch, but we weren't really seeing like this amount of production from him. But since coming back, his numbers are something stupid. I think he might even be batting like over 600 or something, like ridiculous numbers. And we're seeing such a different Gleyber Torres in the sense of he's not all home run or bust, as we saw previously in the season. I feel like once he got that first home run out of the way, he kind of changed his approach a little bit just because he didn't have that 0 on his stat line. But looking at Gleyber Torres, he's exactly what the Yankees need right now. We're talking about like a right-handed contact hitter in the middle of the order. And like you said earlier, I think the 5th spot is the perfect place for him because it's essentially having like a second leadoff hitter at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think you're continuing to see guys. I hate to use Boone's expression of like turn the corner or turn the page, but you're starting to see a lot of guys in this lineup figure out what their role is. And as we get back to full strength, obviously now Voigt's back, Stanton is supposed to be coming back on Tuesday. You're just seeing this lineup fill out the way it's supposed to look. So I think, our top 3 is going to be locked in with DJ, Stanton, and Judge. And then 4, 5, 6 now looks like Gio, Gleyber, and Voigt, which is way better than what it was like I'd say 2-3 weeks ago. And then 7 through 9, you kind of just figure out whoever's hottest out of Gary, Gardy, and Clint. And if Clint, today is any indication, 3-hit game, this is a solid sign. So listen, I really like where we're at as far as just the team as a whole, because it doesn't look like one side is carrying the other too much. Like the offense is starting to pick it up, and the starting pitching has just been lights out. So I like how things are coming together right now.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sight to see.
It's a sight to see, bro. It's a sight to see.
But listen, the second guy I want to talk about, I think you know who this is.
Yeah.
Bro, my guy, Clint Frazier. 3 for 4 today. One guy who has gotten absolutely no love from anybody. I forgot who our biggest Clint Frazier hater was, but it seems like he's not here today. His first 3-hit game of the season, shout out to Clint. It seemed like he was putting up great at-bats. His batting average is now 171. Just about the same as Rougned Odor, which is kind of crazy. If you put this into perspective, because Yankee fans have this perspective of Rougned Odor like he's the greatest hitter of all time, right? We're talking about a guy with a 171 batting average, 623 OPS. You look at Clint's stats. He's batting 171 with a 608 OPS. So it's not that too far off from Odor. I know the clutchness.
I'll be the Odor defender. I think the reason why Odor just seems to be a little bit more I guess just like we're okay with his batting average being so low is just because those hits have been in big moments. And on top of that, his energy is just like so what this team needed.
No, I get it, but then you look at the stat line, and it's not that different.
Yeah, but would you rather have if a guy has, let's say, 5 home runs and all 5 of them came in very unimportant parts of the game versus 5 home runs that give your team the lead or tie the game? I'm taking the second guy.
Obviously, yeah.
Sometimes the stats are a little misleading. However, I think Clint is his at bats have looked a lot better. I don't really care about yesterday's at bat because he hadn't played in 5 games. Throw him in a pinch hit situation. I wasn't really using that as like a barometer of where he's at. It wasn't really a fair.
Oh, I like that barometer. Okay,
I'm coming with
okay. No, yeah, go.
But yeah, no, I think like Odor's nothing to marvel at either. I don't think he's been amazing. I just really like his energy. Up the middle, he's worked well with Gleyber defensively. He's worked well with Gio on those double plays. And earlier in the season, when we kind of were like a dead offense, he provided a little bit of a spark just with like clutch hits and like the flair of pimping home runs. Like all that stuff is nice. I don't think he's like the answer, and I don't think he's better than Clint Frazier. But I think Clint has an opportunity now to kind of like it always seems like he's always like in the forefront of things. So like if the Yankees are really struggling, it really shows through Clint. And I think now that everything is kind of clicking outside of him, even Guardy is putting together good at bats. He kind of has an opportunity to go under the radar and get hot again because he's going to get a lot of pitches to hit. So I think.
I mean, also, what we can't kind of discredit was Clint started the rally in the 9th inning.
Absolutely.
He started off with this. Yeah, and the stolen base. So shout out to Clint. Love Clint Frazier. I hope that this is the beginning of him kind of turning things around. Only because I think there is a little competition in left field right now between him and Andujar to see who gets that spot. Right now, I think I'd still have to go with Clint simply because his defense I know the metrics might not tell you this, but his defense outweighs Andujar so much. I mean, Andujar made a decent play in the outfield today, but that's a ball that like it shouldn't have to be called like that. That might have been the most awkward diving catch I've ever seen in my life.
I love Andujar for his bat. I love him for like him being a young kid and just being excited to play baseball. I still have zero confidence with him out there in the field, regardless of where he is. So I know he can hit. And I think he should be a major league starter somewhere. I just really don't like him on the Yankees just for the fact that we don't need to be wasting any outs in the outfield. I know that our bats have not been great out there, but I think this would be the time for Clint to get it together because of Andujar hitting well at the plate, because of the Yankees looking elsewhere for outfield help. This should be his opportunity to solidify himself as the left fielder for at least for this season. After this season, we'll see, but solidify yourself as the left fielder. Let the Yankees have to worry about one outfield spot, just center field. I agree. Don't let them have to worry about what they're going to do with you in left also.
Yeah, and you know who like my number 3 guy from today is? Yeah, like I said, it's a wild card.
Can I guess?
You can guess.
Is it Tyler Wade?
Yes, bro. It's Tyler Wade. Like, we spent the entire beginning of the season, like, ripping this dude to shreds because of how bad he is. I would say in the last week or so, he's kind of starting to win me over. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, you look at his defense in the outfield is kind of smooth. Like, it's not bad at all. Like, I trust him out there much more than Miguel Andujar.
Yeah.
2, like, his at-bats have been a lot better as well. Like, I feel like that, just like that 9th inning at bat, you're going up there against a tough lefty. Granted, he didn't put any balls really in the zone, but to have like the discipline in that situation is huge. I think Tyler Wade kind of knows his role, and the fact that he did chop that little infield single, bro, that's what we love to see. Like, that's stuff that we've been asking for as Yankee fans. Get us like a little lefty contact hitter that just puts the ball in play. Now, I know Tyler Wade isn't really like that solution as far as the lefty outfield bat goes, but I think that he could be a tool off the bench. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna cool my Tyler Wade hate. The thing is, like, I think we talked about it the other day. As far as like his at-bats have looked better. I still don't like the fact that he hasn't executed on small ball opportunities. But I think as he gets more confidence going up there to the plate, I think those things will come. I think if you're struggling at the plate and you're not seeing the ball well, it's hard to execute a bunt. It's hard to execute, hitting the ball the other way when you need to bring in a run or for him as a lefty, pulling the ball to get a guy from second. Like, all those things are situational things that when you are handling the bat well seem a lot easier. So when you go up there and you might not play every day and you're struggling when you do play, it might be hard to lay a bunt down because maybe you think you want to do a little bit more. But he showed a lot in that Texas series, especially the day of Kluber's no-hitter. I think that was huge for him to just go out there and make 2 tough plays in right field, a position that I don't know if he's ever played, honestly. And then
I don't think so.
And then that triple, I don't remember which game that was in. I think it was in the last game or the third game in Texas. But the RBI triple, like all those things.
Yeah. I think it was Kluber's game.
Yeah, it might have. I don't know, but either way, it was 0-0, and he broke open the scoring with that triple.
Yeah.
Just things that we might have not appreciated as much, just because it was Tyler Wade. Like if it was Gleyber or Gio or whoever out there doing that, it would be much more appreciated. So we should give him a little bit of credit. And I really think that his speed is now being put into use the way it should be. His defense, his versatility, all the things that the Yankees always talked about with him, we're actually starting to see them now.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, we never knew Tyler Wade played a decent outfield before, right?
Yeah.
I think now, like, we could maybe see him in, like, an emergency situation. I trust him out there so much more than Andujar, like levels above Andujar.
it's funny because a couple, or I want to say like a few years ago, they had him playing center field in spring training, and then
Yeah.
he didn't break camp with the team, and he was kind of pissed off, and he was like, "I've done everything that they've asked me to do. Like they asked me to play second and short. I've done that. They've asked me to play center. I did it well." And so I think that maybe he didn't make the team then, but it went a long way as to showing them in a few years later, you can put me anywhere and I'll do what I need to do out there. So
yeah, you know one guy I do want to ask you about. I think you know where this is going to. Wandy Peralta. Now, I have to admit I've kind of been a critic of Wandy Peralta since day one, simply because like when you trade Mike Tauchman for him, and we know how much I love Mike Tauchman, it kind of just it sets the bar pretty high as far as his performance is expected to be. But I get Wandy Peralta kind of solidified himself as like a late game option for the Yankees when he first came over. It was really solid in his first few appearances. But I think as of late, we've started to see some hiccups, right? I believe this is second out of his last 3 outings where he's given up like multiple runs. I don't think that he's the guy that the Yankees acquired thinking that like he's going to be the next Britain, right? I think it's like Jalen, to be honest with you, I'd rather go with Licky than Peralta.
That's fair. I don't know if they thought they were acquiring the next Britain. I think they knew that they weren't going to use Tauchman anymore. And
they used him like Britain, though. They used him in Britain's role.
They didn't have Britain. I think this kind of like we always say, these things work themselves out. And we were talking for a while, like who's the odd man out when Britain comes back? And I think now we know it's probably going to be Peralta. They'll let him get more reps in AAA. And if anything happens, they have another weapon down there. I just don't think, for me, it was kind of the opposite. Like the bar was not as high for Peralta to me because I knew that Tauchman was not going to be used the way that he should be. Obviously, now in retrospect, we
really could use Tauchman right now.
Yeah, I mean we could, but also like not really though, because Miguel Andujar has been a much better hitter than Tauchman was in the past 2 years. And just this little stint that he's come up, Guardy's done a good job in center, whether we like it or not. He's playing well.
He's not the long-term solution out there.
Yeah,
though.
But I don't think Mike Tauchman is either.
No, but if you give him the opportunity, he could prove that he can be.
I don't think he does.
Okay,
let's say getting an opportunity in San Francisco. He hasn't really done anything, and I think the long-term solution isn't Guardy. It isn't Mike Tauchman. I don't think Miguel Andujar is a long-term solution on this team anywhere. I just don't. I think they saw that Mike Tauchman's use on the Yankees was up, and why not get a guy who throws 97 from the left side while Britain is out, and then when Britain comes back, we have insurance. So I'm not as down on this situation as most people are. I know like it sucks because Mike Tauchman was a fan favorite. But I just
there was no need for him though. There was no need for Wandy Peralta.
But at the time there was no need for Mike Tauchman either. It just you can't predict trades. At the time,
I get it, but you can predict injuries.
That's what I meant. But no, you can't.
You can't, bro. When you have Aaron Hicks who has yet to stay on the field healthy for the last 3 seasons, you could almost predict that he's bound to get hurt eventually.
But that's when you have they were looking at it from this position of we feel like we have a lot of outfield depth, and we don't have our best lefty reliever, obviously aside from Roldis Chapman, but he's our closer. So we don't have our number one lefty reliever setup man option from the bullpen. So in the meantime, if we know we're not going to get anything out of Mike Tauchman because that's what we just feel, whether it's they look at analytics, they look at all these different things to decide Mike Tauchman is not only the 4th outfielder, but the 5th outfielder on this team, and he's out of options, let's go out and get something for him, something of value that we can use in the meantime. And it's kind of worked out perfectly. He pitched well in his first few outings with the Yankees. He's kind of returning back to what you kind of saw in San Francisco. He hasn't looked terrible. He just hasn't looked as dominant as he did.
No, yeah.
And then and he also has options. So now if he's not performing, you send him down to AAA. You let him keep getting fine tune his whatever is going on with him. And then you bring back Zach Britton. Zach Britton's about to start his rehab assignment. So everything kind of worked out perfectly.
You know who else is about to come back?
Ooh.
Giancarlo Stanton. Bro, look at that transition. That was fire. But no, Stanton's expected to come back on Tuesday, I believe. I'm pretty sure what Boone said is they're going to see how he's doing tomorrow on the off day and then kind of make their decision from there. I'm assuming he's going to be back on Tuesday for the Blue Jays series, which would be huge. However, I think it puts the Yankees in an awkward position as far as like the lineup construction, right? Because obviously Stanton's going to be your DH. And I think you have to put Clint back in the lineup, right? Clint has to be your left fielder. I'm assuming Guardy's going to be in center and Judge in right. So Andujar is either going to have to ride the bench or go down.
Well, I think the if this was another team, maybe it would be a tricky situation, but I don't think the Yankees are too worried about that because they are huge on, everyone needs a day off pretty like rotationally. So
what happens with Andujar now?
I think he just plays left field. He's like in a platoon with Guardy and Clint, and like they'll just move in and out. I think Stanton's not going to play every day because playing DH is so tired.
No, it's so tough. It's so
tough.
rough.
So he definitely can't play 3 days in a row. But yeah, I think they'll probably have a day. You have the real lineup for the first 2 games of this Blue Jay series, and then probably game 3, you'll see Andujar in left, and you'll see Guardy in center, and Clinton right, and Stanton sitting, and you have Judge DH.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of why Judge DH today, right? Because I think the Yankees are expecting Judge to have to play the field much more often now. So they're probably like, let's just give him DH one more day, and then
I have to give Aaron Boone credit because I spoke down on his name for something that I now agree with, something that he cleared up in the postgame today. I was wondering why he's been DHing Aaron Judge so much. I really didn't understand it. He DH'd him like 3 or 4 times over the last 6 games. However, with Giancarlo Stanton out, the DH spot is wide open, and you have Miguel Andujar playing well, so get him into the lineup, and you use Judge, let Judge rest a little bit more just to play it safe. So I'm not really mad about that. I think it actually is a pretty good strategy to use that DH with Judge while Stanton's out.
Now, hear me out. Like, I know you said Andujar is playing well, but can we get on the same page here and say like he's a little bit overrated?
I don't think he's even. I think he's more than overrated. I don't understand why they didn't trade him after, what was it, 2018? I think they should have traded him then. They could have gotten so much for him after 2018 when he had that rookie campaign. I know like you go into 2019 thinking he's going to be your starting third baseman,
but then also like who's your third baseman going into that season if you trade Andujar?
Well, they traded for Brandon Drury, so clearly they didn't think that he was the answer.
No, Drury was the third baseman going into 2018. Yeah,
right.
And then I think they traded him for Hap.
Drury?
Yeah. Who they trade
Drury? It was Drury. We traded Drury and who's that left fielder?
McKinney?
Billy McKinney, yeah.
McKinney. Yeah.
I think it was those two, maybe one more guy. But yeah, you're right. I think maybe, I guess everything happens for a reason, because I guess if you trade Andujar, maybe you never have Gio come up in the middle of the beginning of the season. So I guess everything happens for a reason. But I do think the Yankees could have absolutely capitalized off of that 2018 season, or at least like early 2019 when like when Gio comes up and starts raking. Maybe you take some calls like, listen, he doesn't have a spot here anymore. What can we get for him?
Yeah. Let's see what we got here. I want to bring up a solid comment. Kyle Johnson says, "Who gets sent down for Stanton? Ford?"
I hope.
Probably, right?
I would freaking hope so.
I just don't see where Ford fits with this team. Right? Like, what's his role?
He doesn't have a role. I will say though, he has a pretty cool handshake with Luke Voigt.
Okay, well, that's not reason to stay up, though. Like, that might be the only thing he has going for him.
You have to keep him on the taxi squad so he can be in the dugout, so they can do their handshake.
Is Dietrich still, like, on the taxi squad?
I'm not sure.
Okay, that was weird. Like, tell me not. Like, I thought it was strange that a guy could be on the taxi squad without being on the 40-man.
No, I don't know the rules behind that, but I thought they were going to call him up before.
Same.
Because Odor had a kid. I thought they were at least going to call him up for like the last 2 games of the season, but Odor was back. That's not the
Bro,
season.
it's so hard to say. I thought I was the only one. Odor. Because I always want to say like Ordor. Like
I want to say Odor.
Odor. Bro, it's tough. Whatever. But moving on.
Odor.
Jesse Dominguez with a lot of emojis says, Pat, do you think Luis Severino can become an ace like Garrett Cole once fully healthy? Now, when we say fully healthy, are we talking about this year? Because this year, hell no. But if we're talking like maybe next year, the year after, I think Luis Severino could definitely develop himself to become like that ace like we saw previously. Like Garrett Cole, that's asking for a lot. But I think like My expectations for Sevy coming back this season are extremely low. But moving forward, I do have high expectations for him.
I just don't know what to think about Sevy, bro. Like I want him. I want to believe that like he's this ace that we have in the holster, waiting to go. Like because he was so good in 2018, or was that 2019?
It was 2018.
And then like a little bit of 2019, he came back for I think like
at the end of the season, yeah.
And he looked good. And then he had like a pretty good start against the Twins. Like it was like a weird start where he got out of a lot of trouble, but kept.
That was such a weird start, bro. He could have given up 6 runs that start, and I wouldn't have been shocked.
Yeah, no, but I think he pitched like 4 or 5 innings and didn't give up a run.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like really weird. He's been injured almost for like it seems like the past 3 years. Like it's not really like a consistent. We can't come to like a real verdict on whether Sevy is a number 1 or even a number 2 right now. Obviously, he has great stuff. But we have to see what he looks like when he comes back from injury. He can either – I think this could go one of 2 ways. I think Sevy could come back and just not ever be the same and just be kind of like a guy who turns into a reliever, which would be fine. I think he could be like a Johnny Loizaga level reliever if they.
I think he will in the postseason.
I hope he will. At least this year.
Yeah. No, yeah.
But he could also come back and, have a refined approach, have a lot more control, a lot more discipline, a little bit more command and understanding of how to pitch. Because when you have that time off, you're not only watching guys pitch, but you're sitting with guys that now the Yankees have brought in a lot of experience into the pitching room, I guess, for lack of a better term. So you can sit there and talk pitching with Garrett Cole. You can sit there and talk pitching with Corey Kluber, even a guy like Tyone who's come back from 2 Tommy John surgeries. So I think all those things might help Sevy, and he could come back and dominate. But I do think this year he's destined for the bullpen, and he might be like a long man type guy. If like Monty has a short leash, say like in a game of 3 or 4, and if Tyone, like God forbid, needs to start a playoff game,
bro, if Tyone needs to start a playoff game, we're in a really bad situation. No joke.
Unless Tyone like suddenly turns it on and
lights it up,
lights out for the rest of the season, like from June on, and then he catapults into like the 3 hole in the rotation.
Yeah, I
really can't see that happening though.
I could see him like coming out of the bullpen in the playoffs, being like a mop-up guy.
Oh yeah, for sure. He could be. I don't know if you remember Jaime Garcia.
Yes,
we traded for him, and he was kind of like the long man / like mop-up guy. I could see that if we're up like 4-0 or 5-0, and they want to like bridge from like 5 to 7. I could see that.
It like you said though, it all depends on how he does the rest of the season. But I think kind of the bottom line from today's game is the Yankees finally finished off a series, right? They finally swept. I think that this is a great sign moving forward, especially because Tuesday they're starting a series against Toronto, an ice-cold Blue Jays team. So hopefully they could kind of keep this going. That's 6 wins in a row now. You love to see that. So hopefully they could keep it up, but that is going to wrap things up for today's postgame. Appreciate everyone for stopping by. We will be live tomorrow for the off day at 9 p.m. on Hinge time. I believe me and Dan are going to be on, so it's going to be a fun one. Also tomorrow, 12 p.m., stay tuned on the YouTube channel. We're going to be releasing a video about Ketel Marte possibly coming to the Yankees. I don't know. But also, if you guys want more exclusive content from us, be sure to follow us on Newsbreak. Link is in the description. We post some exclusive content on there, post games, other videos. So go follow us on there. But that is going to wrap things up. You guys be sure, like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications for more. We will see you tomorrow. Stay happy, stay healthy, and stay safe.
Whoa.
What?
Go Knicks. We here, baby. Knicks tape in full effect. Let's go Knicks.
Goodbye, everybody. Peace.